Welcome to Lewd Mood. I'm Becky.
And I'm Kelly.
And we're your hosts, two 40-something-year-old college roommates ready to take you on a wild ride through the bizarre, scandalous, and downright lewd news of the world and our own lives.
This is going to be good, folks. We promise you'll have a blast. So, without further ado, let's do this.
Well, welcome back, everybody.
Episode 2 is here. We are here. We made it. Let's go.
Thanks for coming back and listening to another episode of Lewd Mood. I hope you enjoyed the first one. I will say we got a little bit more structure on this episode. So hopefully now you'll know what to expect out of our podcast.
Yeah, we got some excellent feedback. And we really appreciate everyone who supported our launch into everything, which will probably, that first episode will probably go into a Patreon in the vault at some point where it will never be spoken of again. But we're proud of it.
It's true. Yeah, this is technically the third time we've recorded because the first one was such a mess. We were like, we can't put that out there. But maybe for some of you, we will. So stay tuned for that.
Right. Becky, what did you do this week? Tell me everything.
I didn't do a lot. Once again, man, this time of year, I was hoping for good weather and I haven't done anything. I will tell you that I did watch the Iowa women play last night and they beat LSU and it was a heck of a game. And oh my gosh, it was so great. But beyond that, the most exciting thing that happened to me is I almost got killed by a bird this morning after dropping my kids off at school.
What kind of bird?
I think it was a robin. And listen, on my front porch, there is a lantern light, like your front porch light. And birds try to make a nest up there every year. And usually I keep an eye on it, but I did not look. It's raining this morning too. So I was running from my car to the house, trying not to get wet. And this bird was up there and I didn't see it. And he swooped. I swear I felt his wing touch my forehead.
I have such a dislike of birds. I mean, I want them to live their life, right? But I am deathly afraid of geese. Like, you want to freak me out?
Oh.
Like, maybe a snake scares me. Geese, a gaggle of geese.
It was a whole thing. So yeah, this morning, my life flashed before my eyes this morning. I will say that I got to keep an eye on that light now and knock down that shit so that they don't build a nest because they can build them in like 20 minutes, I swear. So
It's a hard no.
that was the most exciting thing that happened to me. Well, how was your week? I feel like it was better than mine.
Not much. I mean, I had to get new brakes on my car, which is very exciting, especially being a woman going into a automobile shop, and they upcharged the shit out of me. So I was not happy with that. So they got a full worded, "That's not nice," from me. As I paid for it because my brakes were on a death wish. A literal death wish. Because you know me, I like to wait until it's a little spicy, a little fun, until my life is in danger. So yeah. And then last night I went to the bar across my street. You've been there, to the hotel bar, to watch the Iowa game as well. And
Nice.
I got told that I was wrong on what teams were playing, even though I was correct. That I didn't really know a lot about basketball. I got mansplained to a lot, which is fine, except I was like, "Sir, you are 100% wrong." He got a little upset with me, especially when he found out
He said it with his whole chest, even though he was wrong.
He said
like
it
his
with
whole
his
chest.
whole fucking chest. He was like, "No,
Nice.
South Carolina's playing next." And I was like, "The USC, sir, that is playing next is Southern California, the Trojans, not the Gamecocks."
Yes. Two different teams.
And he was like, "You are wrong." And I was like, "Let's put money on this shit."
You should have. You should be like, "Would you like a wager?"
No,
Awesome.
it was not entertaining, but Iowa won. It was a great game. I was excited to watch it. Oh my God.
Go Hawks.
The shots that they were putting up were just, it was everyone. I mean, obviously Caitlin Clark was
everyone.
But like Kate Martin was hitting some good ones. Gavin
Yeah,
Marshall was hitting some bangers. And Angel Reese, the first half of that game, that girl was like everywhere. She was like, boom, blocking the ball,
everywhere.
boom. Offense,
Insane.
defense,
Her arms are a mile long. I mean,
insane.
she's rebounding with four Iowa players around her, and her arms are like this much farther above everybody else on the court. She's insanely good. She is. And I don't care what people say. Like that woman is an athlete. Period. She is
She
good. She
knows.
has
She
passion.
knows her role. Oh,
She
she
does.
knows her role. This is what I like about Angel Reese, is she knows her role in the media. She is the villain. She's not the darling, right? She knows she's the
No,
villain, and she plays that fucking thing up so hard. And I just like mad respect for her. She's in people's faces, being like, "Bye, you got kicked out of the game. See you later." And then in the game, when she rolled her ankle, took like 90 seconds off the court, and then was like back swatting balls. I was like, "This
I
girl,
know.
she's
The people
elite."
that criticize her the loudest are people that never played a competitive high level of sports. Like you and I both played in college.
Yeah,
That trash talk, it's part of it, period. And
yeah,
just because you haven't heard it before, it's probably because women's sports have never been as popular as they are now. And
yeah,
Clark, who I also adore, runs her mouth just as much as Angel Reese does. It's they are the same, just on 2 different teams. They are fierce competitors. And I mean, I had a bit of a mouth on me as an athlete. I know
yeah,
that's hard to
yeah. You
imagine.
did. You
You
did.
definitely did too. But I
No.
mean, I can talk some shit, but that's part of it. When you're competitive and you have like that edge, that's just part of the game. So I just thought it was awesome. I loved it.
What is the trashiest thing you've ever said to somebody on the court?
So I very much
Yeah,
remember playing this team in Southern Iowa, and I cannot remember. This was in high school when I played basketball,
yeah.
and there was a girl that I was paired up with. I was either playing like forward or center. I can't remember which. I'm 5'8", which is hilarious, but this girl kept putting hard picks on me, like hard. And like she was brick house. She put a pick on me, and I just tried to barrel her over, and her teeth went into the side of my head, and I knocked her two
Oh,
front teeth out
oh
in the
shoot.
game. They came out. So she left the game, blood everywhere. I had like teeth marks in the side of my forehead. I'm like, why are you, number one, not wearing a mouth guard? And number two, close your mouth. Like if you're
Yeah.
gonna put a pick on someone. But so so it's definitely her fault that this happened. But she left the game and she came back during the boys' game with no teeth. Her
Oh
two
my
front teeth were
god.
gone.
I was such a dirty player in soccer because
Oh,
um I was fairly athletic, but I wasn't super fast. I was had
yeah.
like
Mhm.
quickness, but
Yeah.
to run like the whole soccer field was I wasn't that fast. So I'd have to like jersey grab, I'd have to trip people, I'd have to
What's
elbow
soccer?
people. Yeah, and I got one yellow card and the referee let me keep it at the end of the game, and I was very proud of
Little
myself.
souvenir.
Yeah.
I love it.
Speaking of our youth, I know one thing that you really
Yes.
miss about youthfulness. I know you miss the dating scene. Do you?
Every day, yes.
See the
No.
beauty of our different lives, right, is you have a family and you don't have to be on the Bumble scene. So God bless you. Because I will tell you,
Yeah,
I'm on that Bumble scene and it is very interesting,
interesting.
a little
In
more
what way?
sus.
Tell me all the things.
Well, I think what we should do is I should actually just show you. So I would like to propose a new segment called the Bumble Beat. And
Yes.
I'll even do the music for it.
If you're watching the video, you're in for a little treat right there. I'm here, the bumblebee.
Bumblebee.
Yes.
All right, Beck. So
Who's
here you
next?
go. You get to pick your pony. I'm going to give you three actual Bumble people that have popped up on my Bumble in the last 24 hours, and you get to pick your pony. Who do you want to go on a date with? All
Oh my
right.
god. This is so exciting.
I know.
Give
Pick
it to me.
that pony. Okay. Number one on here is Edward, not Ed. Very
Edward.
specific on it.
Very
Edward's
Twilight.
a engineer. He
I like
likes
it.
mudding and drinking beers, and his requirement is you have to be nice, sweet, and traditional.
Oh,
So
I'm not a
that's
trad
suitor.
girl. I'm not.
So that's suitor number one. Edward also is 5'4", has a faux hawk,
5'4"?
and and an affliction T-shirt.
No. Okay.
Mhm. Yep. So that's suitor number one. Suitor number two
Great. Off to a great start.
is Chris, and Chris's only request is, "You shouldn't date me if you're liberal," and he wants traditional
Strike
values.
2.
So
Strike 2.
Chris is also a trad man. Um,
Okay.
Chris does not say anything about his self or his occupation or his star signs or his likes or dislikes.
It's a
He just
mystery.
has the two requests: you are not a liberal
Got it.
and traditional values. And
Cool.
then suitor number three is Rich, and Rich likes football.
Cool.
That's it.
Oh,
Okay.
what?
All right. So
That's it?
these are these are your ponies. All right, who we
Well,
going with? And Ed, number one. Are we going with Trad Chris, or are we going with Football Rich?
I mean, I don't think I have a choice here. I think it has to be Rich.
Why?
Well, listen, I am not a trad wife, okay? I am not in any I'm not going to I'm not gonna make homemade treats. I'm gonna buy them at Hy-Vee, okay? You're not gonna come home to a clean house with me cooking when you get there because guess what? I have a job too, so it's called a partnership. I am
Okay.
not the sole provider of the children. It is your child too, so step up. It's not babysitting when you watch your own child. So I would never fit that little mold, and boy, would I be a disappointment to those 2
Do you
gentlemen. So I'm gonna have to pick Rich.
do you think that do you think Rich might be moldable? I mean, he's only likes football.
I
So
mean,
maybe you can introduce him to some other things. See, this is what I like about Rich. He's like, "Hey, I don't have any expectations. I just
right.
Rich like football."
Yeah,
Which is imagine how I picture him saying it. Rich like football.
yeah.
Not like
Rich is probably a simple man. I think Rich is probably pretty simple. Rich
yeah,
doesn't have a lot of expectations. He probably wants a bush latte
I
and a
love that about him.
TV, a
Rich
recliner,
Rich is my
and a
man.
day full of games.
Rich
Okay,
is
Rich
my
it
man.
is. Well, are we gonna do we swipe on Bumble? I don't know what the process
Yes,
is.
Bumble is
What is it?
the swiping over. Um,
Okay. Are we gonna
yes.
swipe on
So
Rich?
I did not swipe on Rich, but
Okay.
I out of my
You
3
left him
options,
for me. You left him for
I
me. Is
left
that
Rich for you.
how
Yes.
generous of you?
I'm still waiting for the one. I really thought Edward Not Ed had
Oh,
some
yeah.
potential. I'm like, I do love an Affliction t-shirt back in 2004.
Right. Who didn't?
I
Yeah. You're about the same size.
we
So,
are and I am not a traditional gal. I know people are shocked to hear that. Um,
yes, me
you
especially.
know, I I think Edward Not Ed would also agree that him and I are not a match. So,
Yeah,
I
that's
hope he
fair.
has a
Very
good
self-reflective of you.
thank you. I've done a lot of therapy.
This is our therapy.
This is our therapy. So I'm glad people like to listen to this. And yeah, hopefully someone gets choked in a fun way today.
I have to tell you the amount of text messages I got and messages on my Instagram about choked in a fun way. I think we're
Yes.
onto something here. I
I
think we're
really
onto
thought
something.
the just a single woman with a cat was going to be the one that really got everyone.
That's also leading the way in responses. I think there's a lot of people that can relate to that. It's funny because, um, as I am married with children and
Mm.
you
Great
are
show,
a
by the way.
sink.
Yes.
Oh,
A sink
thank you.
walk.
Yes.
A sink walk.
Sink walk. And you're a sink walk. There's a lot of people out there that are like in that boat. So I really feel like we're onto something here. And the merch would be just amazing.
Yes.
Little outline of Randall
Oh, I love
with
it.
sink
And,
walk
I already got an
me.
application from someone that wanted to be a co-chair with me of the Sink Walk Club. So shout out to Bree. I
Love
said,
Brie.
yeah, you're accepted. Let's do this. Like we'll both be Sink Walks. I
I
love
love
that.
that. There is your That's that dink life you were looking for.
Yeah,
That's
that's
your
sink
dual
walk.
income right there. Get yourself a roommate with some cats.
Yeah,
Same thing.
I think we decided we wanna, like, just be separate people in the sink walk club,
Oh,
but I do need a
sure. Okay.
lumberjack that will pay my bills for me. I'm just kidding. I just want somebody to split the bills with.
Fair.
Rent in
Fair.
Chicago area is expensive. Even in the burbs,
It
it's expensive.
it's terrible. It's terrible
I'm
here,
just trying to raise
but I
my cat.
can't
I'm just
imagine.
trying to raise my cat, okay? Just trying to live my life raising Randall to be a good boy,
We just want Randall
and
to
I'm
have the
failing.
best life possible.
I popped off enough on my cat, so let's do some pop culture pop off, shall we?
I love that. Let's do it.
Yeah. Okay.
I have some hot tea for you.
Oh my god, you know I love tea. I love coffee more, but I'll take tea.
This is the tea you want, okay? This tea comes all the way back to 1795.
Oh,
Are you ready for
1790.
some historical gossip?
An historical pop off.
A historical pop off, if you will. Here we go.
I
We're going to talk about Queen Caroline of Brunswick. She was married to George the Fourth of Wales, and this is all the way back in 1795, okay?
okay.
So Queen Caroline had quite the reputation. She may be one of the most public and original hoes of the 1700s.
Ooh, I love being friends with hoes. So I think we would have been friends.
Well, there's something else about Queen Caroline that you need to know. So, Caroline had a bit of a reputation, not only of being a hoe, but also she smelled real bad. And
Stanky hoe.
so, we all know that back in the day, people didn't understand about washing, right? Like
Mhm.
washing was not a thing, especially if you were poor. But if you were wealthy, like Caroline would have been for sure, she thought her smell made her like interesting. So
Oh,
she got set up to marry Prince George the Fourth. And they sent George's people to go pick her up in Brunswick to bring her to Wales so that they could get married. And when she was in the carriage, somebody asked her like, "What's that smell?" And she's like, "It's me. I don't
ugh.
wash my ass." Yeah.
Ugh.
Yeah,
Ugh.
yeah, she was,
No,
like,
no.
into it, okay? So, obviously, like, back in the day, you didn't know mostly what someone looked like because they had to send, like, a painting of this
Yeah.
person or a drawing. You didn't know what they looked like, but you certainly didn't know what they smelled like, and you would think if they had money, they would wash themselves, but no.
Yeah.
So, put that aside, but keep that in your mind, okay?
Okay.
So all right, so Caroline and George, they get married. Okay. There is no attraction between the two of them, which is probably pretty common back in the day when you're getting set up by your parents.
Mhm.
So no attraction there. So they get busy on their wedding night, even though Caroline's pretty stinky. He gives it to her twice on their wedding night and once the next day. But then
That's
that's it for the remainder of their marriage. No more sexy time happening with
right. Ugh.
these two. So, but it worked. She got pregnant, okay, on her wedding night, and she 9 months almost to the day had Princess Charlotte, who
No.
unfortunately died at 21 during childbirth, but she did have a child. But right after this all happened, George and Caroline, they separate. Okay, they have kind of this informal, formal royal separation where they decide I want to be a hoe. You want to be a hoe. Let's stay married, but we can live our own lives, right?
Yeah.
Individual, but together. Okay. So they have these separate lives. And by the year 1800, Caroline had quite a reputation of getting around town. There was rumors that she slept with Napoleon's brother-in-law and they had
Okay.
quite a
Wait, wait,
little
wait.
love.
So
Mhm.
this stanky bitch
Yeah.
with is just slopping around
Yeah.
with her unwatched. Oh no,
Yes.
absolutely
Yes. I don't
no.
know if that ever
Hard no.
changed for her. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
She was getting around regardless of the smell, okay? So,
Nope.
she had quite a reputation. They had nothing but time to talk about people back in
No.
the day. There was little newspapers going around. Think Bridgerton, like, the Lady Whistledown,
Yeah.
like, they
Yeah.
literally had gossip papers that they put and she was always in them. Okay? She also had kind of a reputation for being, like, obscene. So she, like people accused her of
No.
sending anonymous letters to people with, like, obscene drawings of people having sex and, like, sending them to people in the mail, which Which, like, I'm not really sure why, but, like, it was never really founded if she did this or not, but she had quite the reputation of, like, fucking with people.
So basically, this is like the old school version of a dick pic. So it's like you draw a dick,
Yes.
put it in a bottle, put it on a
Yes.
carrier pigeon, fly that little bitch over, and then you're like,
She
check this out. Boom.
she's
And then
airdropping
they're just
dick
scrolling
pics.
through. And you're just
Yeah.
wondering, is this actual to scale?
Yeah, think about, like, some, like, woman in a beautiful dress with her mail opener, opening her letters because that's how you communicate with people. You probably got a ton of letters every day, right?
Yeah.
Open it up, and it's a dick pic from Princess Caroline.
Okay, so let's just imagine. I'm sure the dick pic is not original to cell phones, right?
She was the queen of sending dick pics, I think, so which is
Mhm,
interesting. So,
mhm.
however, these were just rumors, so we don't no one actually knew if
Yeah,
it was her or not, but there were also, reports of her going to wild parties, getting drunk, and taking the top of her dress off and dancing topless at
good
these,
for
like,
her.
royal parties.
I love
She was born in the wrong era, let's be honest. She was born in the wrong era. So, with all of this drama going on, King George wanted a divorce, obviously. He
yeah,
wanted to marry someone else, but, back in the day, you couldn't just go down to the courthouse and file your papers, like, it was, like, had to be approved, especially because he was royal. So, in the process of him wanting a divorce, he becomes the king, and
mm,
she becomes the queen. Caroline becomes the queen.
yeah,
But Caroline didn't really wanna get divorced. She liked her life, she didn't want to, mess it
yeah,
up, she had a lot of money,
I don't
probably a
blame
lot of access to people. So, King George got his buddies together to gather some evidence of Caroline being a hoe,
her. Okay.
and because, of course, adultery was illegal for women, but not for men. Men could do whatever they liked and
Yeah,
whoever they liked, but women, not so much. Grounds for
yeah,
divorce, right?
right.
So they found out that she was having an affair, a long time affair with an Italian foreigner. And of course, a foreigner is like the worst kind of person to have an affair with.
Ugh,
So this was true. She was having an affair with an Italian man. They were caught kissing and holding hands. They were like in love, okay?
okay.
And, so during the divorce trial, Caroline was basically her defense was, "Why is it illegal for me to be a hoe, but it's
Yeah,
not illegal for George to be a hoe?"
yeah.
Because he
I
was
think
doing the
that's
same shit. So she was one of the first people to, like, really call out the hypocrisy of, what men could do and women couldn't. So the divorce didn't happen. She did not win. They did not grant the divorce, but
okay.
and they also didn't change the law. So it was
Yeah,
still, illegal for women to, have friends on the side, side pieces.
right.
But yeah, she wasn't allowed to go to the king's coronation. She was kind of pushed out. So they were
Okay.
still married, but not together, right? And then unfortunately, she died in 1821 of a bowel obstruction. So her life was short and sweet. But that is the hot gossip and the hot tea of Queen Caroline of Brunswick.
I love number one that this just became a historical podcast because you know how I feel about history. But I really love the fact that people might say like she lost in a sense because she didn't have to do. I think that bitch won. She got to still like bang her side
Still the queen.
pieces, throw
Yeah.
her stanky ass around, live
Yeah.
her life, but she didn't have to do all the pomp and circumstance and all that other stuff. I love it. I think
Yeah.
her and I would have been friends. We would have had to sit down and been like, listen, bitch, you need to wash your ass.
Yeah, I'm hoping that happened. I mean, I would think now that she had all those ladies in waiting, like, helping her, they'd probably be like, "How about a little dip in the tub before we go out tonight? You think? Just little water, splash it up there,
Should
make
we
sure
go
everything's clean."
swimming? We should go
Yeah,
swimming before we go out.
we should. Soap was around then. Soap
uh,
was definitely around. So,
do you
anyway, what a
think?
great story, right?
Oh my god, I love it. Do you think Edward, not Ed, do you think he would have been like excited to meet the queen because he's like, oh my god, the traditional values, and then he would meet her and be like, son of a bitch,
Yeah, you bamboozled me.
got bamboozled.
I mean, she would not have fit the trad wife whatsoever. She certainly didn't. If she was taking her top off at parties, I mean, that
I love
girl
that.
was born for a rave.
Yeah,
She needed a little some pasties and on top of a table. She would have had a great time here in the
she definitely
21st
was.
century.
She could have lived in our house in college.
Shoot. Yeah, yeah. There
Oh
you go,
my
Kel.
I love it. Beck, that was fantastic. I love a little historical pop culture news.
So Queen Caroline, she was a trendsetter before her time, right? So
Caroline sure was. She
she
sure was.
was. Also, she was a little bit icky, which I think is like the greatest transition to our final segment, which is the ick of
Okay.
the week.
The ick of the week. Ugh.
Right. Let me pull my icks up here because I got a list.
All right. I'm gonna start with my ick.
Yes.
Crusties on the side of your mouth when you're talking. Gives me
I
the
just
ick.
inadvertently wiped my mouth, just so you know. Like,
The white crusties, you know that's like right here. Ugh.
oh,
Nope.
yeah, of course I
Gives
know.
me the ick.
Oh.
Straight up.
People who comment on famous people's Instagram like they know them. That gives me the
Ugh.
ick.
That does give me the ick.
You don't
Ugh.
know them.
People that tell me about sports that don't know anything about sports.
Oh, you mean like the guy last night?
Yes. Sir, no.
No. How about men when they stand up and they do that little shake to unstick their balls from the side of their leg?
That's an ick for sure, but it also I understand it. I respect it.
I think I have a one final ick. Those videos of men on TikTok of them cooking and somehow they make it sexual, like they're like rubbing the meat and
Oh,
slapping it, and I don't like it. I know food is for consumption. It is not sexual. Quit touching the chicken like that. I can't. I can't do it. It's
I
so off-putting to me. I can't.
but I still will watch it.
Oh, you like it. Oh. Okay. Our
Like,
icks
what are
don't
you
have
doing?
to be the same.
I was like, what are you doing with that chicken thigh? Okay. Okay.
I can't. It's so gross. They always have a toothpick in their mouth and they're like making hard eye contact at the camera. I'm like, ugh, no. But I get it. They're popular for a reason. I'm just not their target audience, I guess. So fair
It's a
enough.
self-loathing. I'm like, ugh, I hate him, but yes.
Ugh. Well, yeah, I might be in the minority. You guys will have to let us know in the comments if I'm in the minority. Do you like those TikTok videos where men are rubbing the meat sexually? Do
You know
you?
what
Do you like it?
you know what videos I do like though? Have
What?
you seen that man that chops wood?
Yes.
Oh,
Yes.
Thorne Bradley.
I like those.
I'm like,
Yes.
yes.
Mhm.
Just what are you doing to that tree? Thank you.
He knows what he's doing. He knows what
He
he's
sure
doing.
does.
That's the lumberjack you've been looking for.
Oh my god. I'm just call me. Call me.
Caller.
Ah,
You know, if you guys ever have some hot gossip and hot tea that you'd like us to read, we would love for you to share your
yep.
stories with us. You can send us an email to lewdmoodpodcast@gmail.com and we will read some listener stories.
If you have any great candidates for the Bumble Beat, we would love to hear their profiles. And
Send us
if
the
you have
screenshots.
just regular tea you want us to sip on, we're here for it.
We're here for it.
All
Well,
right.
Kelly, should we wrap it up?
Let's wrap it up.
Thanks for listening to Lewd Mood Podcast. This is Becky.
And Kelly, bye-bye.
Bye. Lewd Mood Podcast is produced by Kelly Lally and Becky Pospisil.
Music by Paul Size of Red Beat Entertainment.
Listen to our podcast anytime on Spotify Podcasts.
Follow us on Instagram and Facebook at Lewd Mood